Welcome in, everybody, to Leading Off right here on Fantasy Pros. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia. That is Dan Harris, and it's you, and it's Fun Friday. We're talking all things baseball. We'll look ahead to the waiver wire, look ahead to some MLB DFS. We'll also get to the ups and the downs and everything in between. Dan Harris, it was a fun night for baseball, a little bit of juice out there for the Mariners, getting to see some of the fruits of their awful labor of the last 10 years or so, and some of their prospects starting to come up, which was a good thing. And we got some pitchers who look pretty darn good in terms of striking out guys and not walking anybody. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well, Joe. Wasn't the Luis Castillo random 2021 game where he would dominate the Rockies that we expected this weird year might throw at us, but it was pretty interesting. It was great to see, even if the debuts didn't go quite as we wanted, Kelnick up and Webb up. It was a good day for baseball. So I'm excited. Let's roll into the weekend strong.
Well, I am a man of my word. I lit $2 on fire yesterday on a lineup with Luis Castillo just for fun, just for
Sure.
S's and G's, as the kids like to say. And it didn't go well. It was $2 that I'll never see back, but it was worth it. It was fun. I did it, and I was like, oh boy, here we go. Okay, and it's over. There you go. After that first inning, you kind of knew where it was. And that's it.
Full disclosure, I wound up not playing DFS because, again, when the kid has an impromptu Little League practice, that means I'm going to be at the field right when lineups lock. So, I would have played Gilbert probably anyway. Like, I would have wrote because he was so cheap and everything like that. But in the end, I managed to avoid the $1 burn in the trash can Luis Castillo lineup. So, lucky for me.
All right, well, let's talk some three up. Corbin Burnes sets a record. Most strikeouts in a row without a walk, 58. That is the most in Major League Baseball history. And again, he's still perfect on the season. It's unbelievable what Corbin Burnes is doing. This is amazing stuff. But did you know, Dan Harris, did you know that Garrett Cole is right behind him with 56 right now? What is going on? Nobody likes contact. Why did they even go up with a bat? Just go up there and take 3 pitches and go sit down. Dan Plesac, by the way, one of your namesakes, another Dan.
Dan Plesac.
Not Dan Plesac. Zach Plesac. Wrong Plesacs. But
okay.
It's funny.
Look at us. We're going back in time a little bit.
I haven't. You know what? It's amazing to me that I haven't done that more in my life talking about him.
It took me like 2 years to finally figure it out.
I never do that. 100%. I think I was going to watch an MLB Network this morning. That's probably why. But Zach Plesac, as Anthony so astutely pointed out in the chat, he might be the hot foil stamped black chrome pitcher of the night, flirting with a no-hitter there after he got no-hit against. So Zach Plesac continuing to pitch well. Yep. And another up, Ronald Acuna, going yard, but then getting hurt. The good news is that x-rays were negative, so that's an up too. I'm sure he'll get a day or two off there, but Ronald Acuna continues to stay hot. So what do you want to do about these up pitchers right now? Some really good strikeout artists going, and Zach Plesac really is, I think outperformed even my lower expectations and probably yours as well by now.
Oh, for sure. You know how low I was, and again, Mike Mayer loves to text me every time Zach Plesac is. It would have been really cool if Plesac threw a no-hitter, considering he's been on the wrong end of them twice already this year, so that would have been cool. Yes, he's looked great the last few starts. Again, he only struck out 2 batters, I believe, last night. He walked 3, so it's against Seattle, so I'm not going crazy with it. Look, Plesac does look good. He is striking out about 6 batters per 9 innings. Okay, and I get that he had the previous 2 starts, his strikeout rate was up, but it was down in this one. He's pitching well. It's all this talk about the spiked curveball or whatever it is that he learned from Bieber that has sort of changed, and he moved his positioning on the rubber. He's got a 54.9% ground ball rate. That's just not really what he's been in his career. So if I could sell high on Zach Plesac, I would still. My opinion on him has changed a bit. I wouldn't, obviously, I mentioned him as a possible option in DFS yesterday, but I'm still not buying into the fact that it's like, ooh, Zach Plesac, he's a guy who can go out. The strikeout rate's not going to be there. So I would sell high if I could, but to be as fair as possible, he's certainly the movement on the rubber. He has upped his stock just a little bit. That's the main thing from yesterday. I admit Plesac has pitched better than I expected.
Hey, look, we're all going to eat it sometimes on stuff. Question, true or false, would you drink a spiked curveball at a bar if it was a special drink on the menu?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Especially if Zach
2 for 2.
Plesac served it to me, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, so he's serving it to you. All right. All right, 3 down. JT Real Muto and Gleyber Torres both test positive for COVID. A lot of these COVID tests going on here. A lot of positives.
Did Real Muto test positive for COVID, actually? Is that right?
He did. I think he's
I
on
did not
COVID
right.
IL.
Chat,
I believe that's what it is.
Peanut Gallery, tell us in the chat. I thought he was just on the COVID list. I didn't know he tested positive.
Okay,
Gleyber
on
definitely
the COVID
did.
list. Gleyber definitely did.
Yes,
but
which
on the
means
COVID
Glaber's
list.
out for 10 days. That's the thing, at least, and that's his second positive, and he's vaccinated. But he's out for 10 days. I think Real Muto is just on the list. I don't think he's necessarily out for the 10 days.
And Gilbert 4 earned in 4 innings pitch in his debut. Kelenic goes hitless, but from the leadoff spot, which was kind of curious. I didn't see that coming. I don't like that. I want Mitch Haniger in the leadoff spot. I don't know what they're doing there, but I get it. Haniger's probably the best guy in your lineup, so if you want Kelenic to be good, you might as well hit him ahead of Haniger.
I guess.
That's fine. And of course, in 3 down, Luis Castillo. He's last in terms of qualifiers in ERA at 7.71. He is last in WHIP at 1.79, and he is last in opponent's batting average at 3.44. So
is that good? That doesn't sound good.
It's not good.
Okay.
It's actually not good, ironically. So so that's what's going on there. Also some other. No, go ahead, Dan.
We have to talk about Castillo. I don't know if you want to do it now.
Sure.
You want to do it later?
No, let's do it now. Let's pull the Band-Aid off all at once.
I am still buying low. And I think from everything I've seen, the questions we've gotten on Twitter, just the chatter among the
there's questions in here about it this morning.
That's why we got to talk about it. You can. I'm fine if you don't want to buy low. I'm totally fine. This last start in Colorado, realistically, Joe, we joked about the fact that 2021 was going to be a change and everything like that, but we weren't really we wouldn't advocate starting him in season long leagues. He barely threw his changeup. They had a home run off his changeup because the changeup wasn't really changing up. It was just changing straight. So it was really he's been terrible. There's no denying it. But there's nothing intrinsically wrong with what I see in the data. Like, there just isn't. Everything looks almost identical to what it is. He's, by the way, in his career has been a pretty slow starter, and I'm not going to write it off, and this is more than a slow start at this point, but he's usually pretty bad in April. That's when he starts. I don't know if it's the cold weather. I'm still buying low just because if I cannot find a reason for somebody struggling, especially with the track record that Castillo has, I'm just willing to trust in the career's worth of data that I've seen over a 6-week thing. So people are dropping him almost. People are selling him for pennies on the dollar. I would buy low, and that's how you win fantasy leagues. You may not win your fantasy league by buying low on Luis Castillo, but the upside is so great that it is way worth it for me.
I think I would even sell medium on him. And I think there's actually a logic here where if you're the Castillo owner, you could start to look around and say, okay, in a lot of people's minds, they'll see an opportunity if I start shopping him around to buy low on Castillo, because I do think people like us would want to. There's an opportunity out there to sell him, and actually, if you just want out, I don't think it's as bad of a market as you might think, because I think it's very tantalizing to look back and go, ooh, man, I'm a team that's really good in the standings right now. If I could get Castillo and he gets right, wow, what an incredible buy low, and people love that. So you might be able to do well on a Castillo trade on both ends, just keeping that out there for people.
This is the time to buy low. I mean, again, last night, really what it was is, again, forget about being in Colorado. I think he realized very early that his changeup was not gonna do anything there. So he just didn't throw it last night. I mean, and that if he doesn't have his changeup, he's not going to be successful. Like, that changeup is his pitch. Mm-hmm. He didn't throw it last night. I think it was 13 times or something like that, like way low. So last night you just you throw it out. And again, it's discouraging, of course, even in Colorado, because their lineup, half of it is like a AAA lineup at this point. But still, this is the point where if you do want to buy low, and I do, this is when you make your offers now. And again, I'm not going to criticize anybody who does not, but when I look at his pitches, when I look at his release point, when I look at everything underlying what he's doing, nothing about it suggests that he is suddenly a completely different pitcher than he's been his whole career. So I'm willing to rely on that track record.
Castillo or Montas rest of season? Ken wants to know.
Castillo, and I'm not close. Like that, if you can make that. So also Montas, it's not like Montas has been great, and I love Montas.
Hasn't. That's why it's interesting. That's why I pulled it from
we're not in the same ballpark yet, even for me still. And I have been criticized, and I think justifiably at times, for being too slow to react to what we are seeing in a given season, that's fine. I'm somebody who trusts the long-term track record. You don't have to start Castillo right now, especially that. Like, I would not deal him if I had him. I'm fine to keep him on my bench. But Castillo versus Montas, we're not yet in the same ballpark, for me at least, as to what I'm considering.
All right, let's see if some of these guys are going to get back to the ballpark soon. Albert Pujols is officially a free agent. He cleared waivers, so we'll see if he latches on somewhere. Luis Severino threw live batting practice on Thursday. Framber Valdez is throwing a bullpen this week. Also, Casey Mize will begin to have his workload managed over the summer. Duh, of course that's coming. And also a fun little nugget. I always get the stat nuggets and get the dipping sauce for the stat nuggets, and this is a fun one. If you notice, Bryce Harper, he's having a good season, but the RBI total is down. Mm-hmm. Get this. Only 14% of his plate appearances have come with runners in scoring position. So that is a really low number by comparison to a player, who hits where he does in the order. Mm-hmm. So that's going to turn around at some point. So just keep that in mind. It's a very interesting little stat there in terms of Bryce Harper. If you look in overall numbers too, maybe again, you could pry him away. Some good pitchers last night besides the ones we talked about. Jack Flaherty, 6 shutout innings, 6 Ks against the Brewers, because the Brewers are a terrible offensive team. We're going to troll them probably, again, for the foreseeable future, although it says Yelich is going to be coming back, and then he's going to be managed with rest days, and oh, God. Oh, my, here it comes. Here it comes.
The Daily Joe puts his head in his hands over there. Yeah, I don't get I mean, I don't know. They claim
that
some
kills
change.
You in head-to-head, by the way.
Correct. It's almost the worst case scenario. Okay, it's great that you want him back, but you don't want him back for like 3 days a week. Like, that's not what you want. And who knows, when push comes to shove, maybe he feels fine. Apparently, they found a different treatment regimen that's working. I don't know, but it's not great. That Brewers lineup, though, without Yelich, I think they've scored 14 runs in their last 7 games. It's they can't hit. They can't hit. They need something in a winnable division right now. So yeah, we'll see. But if you roster Yelich, you're in a weekly league.
And it's a shame because the pitching's so good.
Yeah.
Like those top 3 guys have been great.
Yeah. You got to start Yelich when he's out there. Like even in a weekly league, like 4 games of Yelich, if he's healthy, I'm still taking the chance.
Tommy Edman up to 7 stolen bases on the year. Lance Lynn, 5 innings, 1 earned, 9 Ks for him. Bo Bichette, I got a question for you. Bo Bichette continues to stay hot, 3 RBIs last night. Who would you rather have in a dynasty league? Vlad Guerrero Jr. or Bo Bichette?
Ooh, it's a little 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, frankly, because they're both so high in my dynasty. I think probably still Vlad, but it's 1A and 1B for me. They're both absolutely elite options in dynasty formats.
All right, Patrick Corbin up to 7 innings, 1 run, 9 Ks. I know the ERA is still very high. I'd be buying Patrick Corbin. The last few starts have been very good. I actually watched part of his start yesterday, too. He looked much better. Velocity was up 2. This is the time to buy on him. Do it now because that ERA is very inflated still. Benintendi up to 281 on the year. Yay, free Andrew Benintendi helping everybody.
I love it.
Garrett Richards, 6 shutout innings, 4 Ks. Boy, what happened to Sean Manaea last night? Oh, talk about the blow-up start that nobody saw coming. Oh, that was terrible. And guess what? Anthony Desclafani, 5 more shutout innings against the Pirates still, whatever. Good to see Austin Meadows actually making some contact.
Yep.
But for the Rays last night, the story was Rich Hill with 9 Ks, 6 2/3. I had to start him this week in my home league. I was very happy with Rich Hill. Very happy with you this week. You get the gold star from Joey P. Well done, Rich Hill. Is Rich Hill investable in your opinion?
I think Rich Hill is kind of back to being as investable as he is every season. It looked like he wasn't, right? In the beginning of the year, he had 4 starts to go in 8.5 ERA or whatever. But right now he looks a lot like the old Rich Hill. Nice thing is, he went more than 6 innings yesterday. If this is where we're going now, where we're letting him go 6 innings, that's great. Now, that he's probably got 4 more starts before he's going to miss the rest of the season with some injury. But right now, he looks a lot like the old Rich Hill. So I'm starting him every time out for sure. And if he's available, I'm picking him up and I'm riding him as long as he's healthy for sure. No hesitation about it anymore.
I was in on Rich Hill last year because it was a 60-game season. I thought, perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. This is made for Rich Hill. And then this year I was going to be out until he signed with the Rays. And I went, well, if the Rays are signing you, they clearly think they can get something out of you. So I'm in. It's very funny to be certain. And it's why, conversely, I was out on Blake Snell because the Rays jettisoned him. And I think with the Morton one, I read it wrong. I read it as Charlie Morton still had more in the tank than maybe I thought, and he just wanted to go somewhere else and maybe finish out his career in Atlanta where everything started, kind of come back a little full circle for him to a certain degree. But you know what? Maybe I read that one wrong, but it's very funny. Watch certain organizations that are really good at moving players out and in for certain reasons, and you can see when they leave, they're not as good. Their talent evaluation with the Rays is very good. But Morton struggled again yesterday, 4 2/3 for him. Zach Eflin gave up 5 runs. Gregory Soto, that is, a third of an inning, 2 runs. So that's not a good outing from him. Tyon struggled. Logan Gilbert, we mentioned at the top, not the best start for him against the Indians. He made a mistake to Jose Ramirez and he paid for it. But with a young pitcher like Gilbert, I don't know what you're going to really expect from him here in the short term, because you're going to get a lot of these 5-inning starts. I kind of hearken it to Tristan McKenzie, right? Where it's going to look more like that. And I'm sorry, it's not going to look more dominant, but that's not where these guys are at yet in their careers.
Yeah, I wasn't discouraged really by watching Gilbert. Again, not a guy, I said it yesterday, he's not a guy who I run after as being like, this is a guy who I am just going to be loving and locked in as like a second or third starter in a fantasy league. No, but he's got a pretty high floor. And even yesterday, I mean, he gave up a few long balls, but he didn't look terrible. If you watched it, his velocity was pretty high. So I guess I won't use the word encouraged necessarily by him, but I certainly wasn't discouraged by him. A couple other notes on the guys you mentioned, by the way. I'm sorry if you want to keep going, Gilbert.
No, that's all I got. Go.
You mentioned a lot of guys. I got to pick my spots.
Well, I want to flow through.
No, you do a great job.
I want you to take it away.
You conductor of the train, my friend. So Soto, I do want to watch. And the guy who I think I'm looking at right now is Michael Fulmer, who came in and bailed him out and has been pitching in the 8th inning. He is not, I mean, the Tigers rarely win, but he is not a bad speculative ad if you are desperate for saves to look around for there. I'm not that worried about Charlie Morton yet. I'm also buying low, but I mean much lower than Luis Castillo. This is more in the Montas range for me because, again, there's not that much that I look at with Morton that shows me what's wrong yet. Now, he's older. He's coming off a year where he battled injury. You never know. He could be dealing with something, but he's not like, I watch him pitch a lot, and there's nothing, again, like Luis Castillo intrinsically that I find missing. So he's somebody who, again, you can buy really cheap on, I think, and I wouldn't be opposed to doing that. As for Minaya, I mean, they just tattooed him yesterday. He gave up a ton of hard hit balls. And now his right, having a great year again, or, the Dan Harris adage over here, how early it is. Now his ERA after a great year, now it's 4.4, right? Like suddenly with one bad start with a 128 whip. So again, he's a guy. I was lucky enough to avoid the start in the one league where I had Minaya just because I had such a stacked pitching lineup and the matchup wasn't great. I wouldn't be that worried about Minaya, but they really did tattoo him yesterday.
What do you think about the Royals and their 11th loss in a row? Boy, talk about a team that was flying high. It's going to be crashing back down to earth. I told baseball's a game of streaks, Dan, and the Royals are in a bad one right now. Yeah,
this is bad. Again, they're a team you can pick out, and their lineup still. It's just you look top to bottom. They're not really hitting that well. It's a lot more about the pitching. The pitching has been really bad. I mean, Duffy even didn't have a great start. Okay. Daniel Lynch was terrible. The pitching is really struggling. The lineup is okay. I mean, Benintendi, we mentioned, batting 281, which is great. Again, you and I have a lot of shares of him because we really like him. Santana's fine. Perez is fine. Whit Merrifield's been in a little bit of a slump lately, so he's not hitting that well. But their lineup is really okay. It's just, it's mostly the pitching, and that's been pretty gross to watch. So I'm not picking on them like I'm picking on the Brewers lineup in DFS or anything like that. But yeah, it's unfortunate because I did think that the Royals might have been a surprise team this year.
Yeah. All right, let's get to some injury news. We already talked about Oh, wait a minute. Oh, geez, Dan.
Oh no!
I got a cramp.
What do we got?
It's a cramp. Oh, it's bad.
God.
You might have to do this segment without me. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can move on. Dad, you got to take it away. I don't know if I can make it work.
God help me if Jeff McNeil misses tonight's game with cramps and what the texts I'll be getting from Joey P over here.
Oh my god!
Thinking he's a major leaguer.
Dan,
right?
you know what? You know what, Dan? I'm gonna do the injury stuff anyway. I'm gonna make it work.
Can power through.
I'm gonna power through. We're just gonna breathe deep. I think I can make it work. All right. Mike Moustakas left the Reds game. Shoulder injury. That's not good, especially because Moustakas was, I believe, your home run call last night.
Yes, and he would have hit a home run clearly if he didn't leave the game early.
Totally. I'm just trying to breathe through this. It's really
all hard. Right. Get through your cramp.
Ketel Marte, by the way, playing in a simulated game on Friday. That's going to be good. Framber Valdez, we mentioned, that's good that he's throwing a bullpen. Urquidy, not good. So this is coming at a good time for the Astros because Urquidy is going to undergo an MRI for the shoulder. So if Valdez can come back, that'll be a good situation for the Astros. Brandon Nimmo, who also plays for the Nets, the Mets, not the Nets. It's starting to really get to my brain now. It's a problem because, Brandon Nimmo can actually come back and play soon. He's gotten the rehab assignment, and that's good because Jeff McNeil, we're worried about him. Also, Diego Castillo back Friday. And Brandon Belt scratched due to soreness in his left side, which is ironic because that's exactly where my soreness was. It was right here on the left side, but I made it through, Dan, despite the cramps. So I'm a warrior. That's what they use to describe me. Look at that face.
You done? You done with your cramps?
It's Friday. I want to have some fun with the
Friday. When you become a professional athlete, okay, then you can play through all your nicks and cuts and pains and all that sort of stuff. I am not going to criticize anyone for not being able to play.
Criticize anyone. I'm just showing you what it's like to soldier through cramps in a podcast form. And I think it's very important that everybody out there recognizes that. All right, let's before we get to some DFS, let's talk about some waiver wire pickups. I think this week you're going to see, especially with some of these injuries too, Tyler Naquin's going to be a very popular ad again. Vidal Bruján is a guy that I would add to. That Rays lineup, I don't care for Rosarena hit last night and Meadows hit last night. They still stink. They need more offense stat. I'm starting to think that Bruján actually might get called up earlier than I think. And he's also on the 40-man roster, which is also something to keep in mind. Trevor Larnach is another guy, too. I wonder if Caparillion will be picked up also because of the good start this week. Anybody for you that's kind of floating around that waiver wire that you're intrigued by?
Yeah, I think there are a few guys, especially with pitchers with, 2 starts next week who are rostered in a lot of leagues, but maybe available, like Corbin, who I saw drop in a lot of leagues. I see, in our thing, he's rostered in basically 50% of leagues. He's got the Cubs and the Orioles, 2 teams that swing and miss a lot. And again, his velocity was up yesterday, as you mentioned, over 92 miles per hour. He leaned back into that slider at about 50%, and that's what he really needs to do. So I'm certainly adding him anywhere I can if he is available. Jameson Taillon, we mentioned, did not have a great start, though. He did strike out 9 Rays. He's got Texas and the White Sox next week. So if he is available, and Adbert Alzolay, who is just always sort of seemingly floating around out there, his slider's been great this year. I don't know how long he's going to be in that rotation just because he's bound to have a hard innings cap. But he's got Washington and St. Louis. As for hitters, Hunter Renfroe is a guy who's swinging a pretty decent bat right now for the Red Sox, and his defense keeps him in that lineup. And they've got a few lefties on tap next week, and that's where he really crushes. So if you're just trying to survive a week, Renfroe is not a bad guy to ride while he's hot, especially with lefties on the top.
All right, let's get to the DFS slate tonight. We got 13 games ahead of us. The New York Yankees are definitely a good chalk tonight. Tyler Glasnow leads the pack along with Max Scherzer in terms of big cash game arms. Glasnow's 10-5 and 10-9 on both sides, respectively. Scherzer, a big price variance here, which I think is fascinating, especially against the Arizona Diamondbacks, because Scherzer's 12-5 over on FanDuel and just 10.7 on DK. I don't know how to justify that in my mind except to tell everybody Scherzer on DK. Just play it. I mean, how do you not, right, Dan?
Oh, yeah. I want to play Scherzer as he's my top pitcher on the slate more than Glasnow even, but with that price differential on FanDuel, I don't see how you do that. But on DK, yeah, there's no question for me. I think Scherzer is going to dominate in this matchup against the Diamondbacks. But the fact that on FanDuel he's whatever he is, $12.5 more than Glasnow?
10 yeah. $2,000 more than him and $2,000 more than the Scherzer version on DK. It's very weird. Once again, DK's getting, I don't know what the heck's going on there over there at DraftKings. Everybody's sniffing glue or something. I don't know.
Now, on FanDuel, I will say, again, I make this point every day, but even at 12-5, even there, you can build a line. Especially today, by the way, there are a million hitters where you can target absolutely all over the place. So I'm not against necessarily paying up for Scherzer.
Oh, no, me neither.
On FanDuel, even at that price, but on DK, it's a no-brainer. You absolutely.
It is tough. It is tough to pay up for Scherzer only because there are a couple, like Glasnow's right out there. Savali has a really good matchup against Seattle. Who, I think that's another one too that I don't hate
Kluber. I don't hate Kluber.
I don't hate Kluber tonight either.
Against the Orioles. He's been pitching well. I've been very encouraged with what I've seen from him. And again, the Orioles, I'm not, that's even at, at Camden, I'm more than willing to go there.
Musgrove's also an interesting price too. He's just 8K and then 8.7. And I know he's been up and down. These are the GPP arms. I think it's Savali. I think it's Musgrove. If you want to dabble with Greinke, another big price variance there. $2,000 premium on DK, 9.5, just 7.5 over on FanDuel. Weird variances here tonight in terms of the pitching slate. And then we got Kershaw and Alcantara going head to head. Kershaw's 11,000 on FanDuel, 10K on DK. Alcantara is 8.2 and 8.9. I kind of prefer the cheaper Alcantara side. I think in GPP, if you have him as a secondary arm with Scherzer tonight in GPP, that is a heck of a start because I think you have upside there for possible upset, and then you've got all the floor ceiling of Scherzer at a low cost price. I think that's the way I would look to go, or if not, maybe Savali in there as well.
Yeah, I like Savali. That's a tough one for me because I love Kershaw. I think he is going to bounce back here, but you're right. Alcantara it's not a bad play as a secondary arm on DK. I do want to mention one other guy, and that's Oviedo for the Cardinals. I know we just talked about Musgrove, but the fact is that San Diego lineup right now, they have no Tatis. They have no Myers. They have no Hosmer. Like that lineup, suddenly you go through and you're like, wait. It was
very Christopher Walken there for a second. Everybody, am I the only one who just noticed that they have no Tatis?
I can do.
They have
Christopher Walken.
No Myers.
No Hosmer. They've got nobody right now in that lineup. I mean, you look at from top to bottom.
No one.
Not a bad play. And Musgrove again. Since he threw that no-hitter, he has not been himself exactly with the results. And the Cardinals, their lineup is fine. I mean, they're not hitting a ton, but they've certainly enough damage they can do. So that's not a bad tournament player or secondary arm on DK either.
My thing with Oviedo is I went back and looked at his minor league track record, and anybody who's got a whip at 1.5, I'm just...
Of course.
I'm running towards him with bats. Even if it's the cheaper bats that because I'm also starting to look at, and I'm going to get to these guys in a second, but Tommy Pham is starting to walk, starting to make some contact. Like there's, that thing that we start to do where we go, oh, look at the guy taking walks and hitting singles, and look at this, what's happening. We saw it happen with a couple of players recently, and they all, like Andrew Vaughn, he started to take off, and then it was the next guy was Kyle Tucker, and it started to take off. These are the things you look for. I think with Oviedo, you're right. There's absolutely room to make money there as a secondary arm for sure. Yeah. But I also think you could, in multi-entry, maybe turn it right around on him and attack. Maybe you want both ends of that spectrum. Possibly.
I think that's fine. It's just you look at that lineup when missing three of its guys. I mean, they've got still Machado.
Pham is
fine. I mean, and obviously you've got Trent Grisham leading off, but
of offense right now, there's no one. They're out. All of them. IL. It's disappointing. All right, let's
not
move
bad,
on.
Joe. It's not bad.
That's right. Well, it's after the cramp performance.
I don't know if I'm going to be winning any awards. Very proud of you.
Dan was worried he had to almost do the rest of the show solo, which he probably would have loved, by the way.
I've been looking for an excuse to pull you from the show for weeks. That was almost it.
Oh, it's gonna be a meeting on Monday. All right, Montas 7K, Smiley at 7.6. What about them as secondary arms? Can I interest you in either of these guys?
No, not really. I mean, the Twins right now, they're not. They don't scare you necessarily with how they're hitting, but Montas is too volatile right now, and
too violent. Right
I was I almost said viable, which would have been the opposite of what I was trying to do. Look, I have Montas in season-long leagues, and I've left him in my lineup this week. But for DFS plays, I don't really like it. And Drew Smiley, just where I'm done with Drew Smiley. It is against the Brewers, so if you do it, I won't criticize it given his price.
Well, that's the point. The point is the Brewers. And
it's a little bit of the irresistible force meets the immovable object, and I'd rather just stay out of it.
But I had to ask you because I know you're a Smiley guy, so I put it in there and I said, if you're gonna go, is tonight the night? Like the old song. I don't know.
Anyway,
let's talk about some stacks tonight. The Yankees against Dean Kremmer, who I've been waiting to go against Dean Kremmer for a while because, ever since he suspended all the Delta Chis, it's been a really tough road there for the Orioles. So I will go with San Diego and Houston versus left-handed pitching. I'm always a big fan. Big fan of Houston versus lefties, and you got some good opportunities there. Cincinnati, Colorado, you can go back to that game stack, as well as the Angels in Boston, high run total there. Also, let's talk about some lineup builders. Austin Nola and Tommy Pham, cheap on both sides. 2-2 and 2-3 on FanDuel. 3-6 and 3-2 on DK. Eddie Rosario, cheap on both sides too. Good matchup for him, lefty-righty. 2.8 for Rosario on FanDuel, 3.5 on DK. Kyle Tucker, 3.3 on DK still. What is happening? Just come on, let's go.
I think that's lower than it was yesterday.
I don't know what the hell's it like. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna take $2,000 off Max Scherzer, and then we're gonna take a couple hundred off Kyle Tucker, and I guess everyone's gonna play and have fun. You should play and have fun on DraftKings. It's gonna be great. Luke Voigt also 2.8 on FanDuel, cheap.
Yep.
And who in the world is Connor Joe? And he is 2.5 and 2.2. Where did you come from? Where did you go?
Exactly what
Where did you come from, Connor Joe? That's why we're friends.
Yeah, and he had a good game.
I've saved my job with that. I saved my job today.
No, you need a lot more than that, but that's fine.
Okay. So yes, on Connor Joe, is that?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, he had a good game yesterday. He's in Colorado. He's batting near the top of the lineup. I'm fine with that, absolutely. I mean, other guys I like, by the way, I think you can go to the Blue Jays for sure against Vince Velasquez. And the wind, by the way, right now, again, it's early, so who knows? But as we record this, the wind is projected to be blowing out to right at 14 miles per hour in a Little League park, right? That is high.
A lot of wind.
You can hit with the righties. You might want to go with Kevin Biggio, by the way, who's super cheap on FanDuel at 2.4. Again,
that's a good one too.
Hit a couple balls over 100 miles an hour yesterday. He looks like he might be starting to round into form a little bit. And I also don't hate the Red Sox stack against Griffin Canning, who I never trust at all. And the Red Sox obviously showed yesterday, starting to hit a little bit.
Did they? Yeah, there was like a little mini slump for the Red Sox there. That bottom of the order is still freaking dreadful though. Like,
it's true.
You know, it is time for the Jarren Duran. Give somebody a chance.
Oh, he looks great, Boston, by the way.
Yeah. If you're Boston, you got to be like, hey, let's go. This is way beyond our expectations. We were in a terrible situation last year. Chris Hill, hopefully you get back at some point. The guys have been okay. You just got to get more at the bottom of that order, I think. And I know that the adage is, well, we're doing well. Why would we start the clocks? You're doing well. Start the clocks. Go for it. I don't know, especially with the
Yankees. A team like the Red Sox should not be thinking ever about starting the clock, okay? Like that, come on, start the clock. Let's go. You're the Boston Red Sox.
Start it now. Do it. Start the clock. Time's running out. Calling your shot tonight. Who do you want to go yard?
I made a last second switch on this one. I'm going to go. I know it's crazy. I'm going to go with Alex Bregman here. I just kind of feel that. I mean, Wes Benjamin, a lefty.
Wes Benjamin,
at home. I'm going.
Sounds
with
like
Bregman.
a lead singer of like a bad like early 2000s Sum 41 kind of band, right? Like, oh, cool, Wes Benjamin and like his band are gonna come by and like ride skateboards.
I couldn't agree anymore. That is absolutely correct. There are a lot of guys who I could go with. I feel like tonight there are a lot of, especially anybody in the Blue Jays lineup, pretty much you could go with, or the Yankees. But I'm gonna go with Bregman. I got a feeling about him tonight.
All right, I'm gonna go with Stanton again. Yep. Against Kremer. I almost wanted Luke Voigt or Judge. I think all three are in play tonight. Again, the good chalks, the Yanks, just go with it. But I'm going to go with Stanton because he seems to be the most locked in. Although Judge starting to show some signs of life also, which is good. And speaking of showing some signs of life, how about that manscaped.com? My God, so much life going on there. So many good things. And the Lawnmower 4.0 will change your life. Once again, it's the new trimmer that has the new guard lengths 1 through 4. So you can change sizes. The Lawnmower 4.0 gives you that 4K LED light. It's also, you got the multifunction on-off switch. They can gauge for travel lock. There's so many cool things. Gives you a precise shave without damaging any of your parts. So, very sensitive out there. The Lawnmower 4.0 is the sensitive gift for your sensitive body to take care of yourself. So go to manscaped.com. Use that code LEADINGOFF. Right now, get 20% off and free shipping thanks to us here with the code LEADINGOFF. Again, manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you. Now, Dan, are we ready to thank anybody here for finally answering an email for you? Or is this the streak? This is like Joe DiMaggio's streak. Like, this is unbelievable. And I know we went long today, but it's Friday. It's the weekend. It's waiver wire. We're having fun. It's a fun Friday. Who cares? But Dan, still the streak is alive?
Yeah, we do not have a winner yet. Now, to be fair, we just emailed this person late yesterday. So this person certainly gets more time to respond. I probably should just start announcing their name on this just in case they're listening and not checking their email. But frankly, I've been doing this for a year, and this is the first time I've ever had to go past one person not answering their email. I don't know what is happening, but it is a signed Ronald Acuna jersey. I will just, again, remind everyone.
You should wear it on the show on Monday. You should just wear it. Say, look at it. Look at what this could be yours.
Gorgeous. I would check my spam folder. I will also say this, Joe. I have checked, and God, do I love our listeners. 995 reviews on Apple Podcasts.
That's awesome.
I want over 1,000 by Monday. I will call out. I will
How
call
about
out
1,000 by Monday.
That's my Monday. We got 995. It's 5 more reviews. I will call out the person who leaves the 1,000th review and their name on the show on Monday. There's no email to get lost.
I think he means in a good way, by the way. He's not calling
in a good way.
Like
in a good way. I will
Okay.
recognize. I will honor that human, unless it's a 1-star review, in which case I probably won't want.
No, I'm definitely gonna honor them. If that's the case, then I'm gonna roast them. It's gonna be awesome.
Don't do that. Don't do that. But anyway, yes, please check your spam. Check your email, please.
Look, go do that.
This away.
And go to
check PristineAuction.com. That is where we get all of our giveaways. By the way, all of our signs.
And they're awesome.
They're awesome. And as Joe always mentions, like, it's not just sports stuff. If you like, I've got a Winston Churchill mock-up thing that I got from Pristine Auction. I get my kids signed Secretariat. Like, she's like obsessed, my daughter, with like Secretariat. So I get her like a signed thing by Ronnie Turcotte.
Your daughter is obsessed with a horse?
Secretariat I'm obsessed with Secretariat. Just so you know, I'm obsessed with greatness, Joe. And so when they learn about anything, I have to teach them every single detail about it.
Well,
so now she knows everything about Secretariat, and she wants to be either a veterinarian or a dog walker when she grows up. So she loves animals. So she's all in. And she's going to be listening to this later. So Sophie, I love you. Will, I love you. Thanks for watching and supporting the show.
Look at you. Hi, guys. I hope you're
Joe.
watching. I hope you're watching and you're enjoying all the silliness of me today, especially with my cramp. So, and like Dan said, we're giving away that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. autographed baseball too. So once again, you got plenty of time to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or CastBox. You take a screenshot, you go to fantasypros.com/MLB contest, you upload that, you fill out the form, and there you go. A Vlad Guerrero Jr. baseball could be yours, or even a Ronald Acuna signed jersey that we just can't give away. It's seriously I don't know when the shoe's going to drop, but I don't know. We're going long today. We don't care. We're having fun. It's Friday. We're letting it all hang out. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back again on Monday to do it all again for you, because we're the People's Podcast. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For Dan Harris, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time. Kids,